Top 3 questions I get asked on this channel. What does the Amazon Relay load board look like? How do I book loads? And when I book those loads, how do I stay so local? These are the relay rates for Saturday, January 6th.
Let's get into those SoCal relay rates.
All right, as always, going to put chapters in this. I'm going to start out with something I'm going to add to this video, maybe just this one time, but just call this necessary fluff. Then we're going to look at recommended. We'll look at 53, 26, and then we'll end up with some spot capacity. But this necessary fluff part, and making these and kind of changing these from like short format to long format, what I hope to show you is exactly how the Amazon Relay load board works. The last thing I want somebody to do is, me posting like a little 60-second clip, and let's say I see 2 outcomes from this. Let's say it's great, and that person is like, okay, Amazon's fantastic in my area based on that 1 60-second clip. Probably leaving that with a false positive, as far as, walking out of that thinking like, okay, well, Amazon's just great in my area all the time. That's just not true. And the same thing holds true with the opposite. Somebody sees a load board, they request one, and I do a little 60-second clip of their area and say things are terrible. They leave that video thinking like, man, Amazon sucks in my area. I'm not going to work for them. That's a false negative. Both of those situations are absolutely not true, and definitely if you're going to do what I do with the load board, keep in mind it's a patience game. It takes a lot of time looking at the load board, keeping track. So before we begin with today's load board, I want to show you how things look when things are terrific. The other day, this is what I woke up to. I did a little, I intended on showing it here. I should have had this queued up and ready to go. I apologize. This was right here. So this was, let's see, this was back on Tuesday. Look at all of these loads. I mean, here's Sand 5 to Sand 3, 166 a mile. Now, I know it says on there it is they call it a 1 mile. It's 0.6 miles gate to gate. So there's one of them starting at 12:30, a second one starting at 12:30, a third one at 12:30. A fourth one at 12:30. Here's another one at 12:31. Vista to Sand 3, not too worried about that with all these other great ones on the board. But I mean, if you were in Vista and wanted to get down to Otay, 485 a mile. Here was another one at 1:30, another one at 1:30, one at 3:30, a second one at 3:30. A third one at 3:30, fourth one at 3:30, fifth one at 3:30, sixth one at 3:30, seventh one at 3:30. Here's another one at 4 o'clock. Now here's another at 4 o'clock. This is all I did a screen recording on that day. Just wanted to keep track of them here. But here's like another one at 4, another one at 4, another one at 4. I mean, there's 12 plus loads that are $166 payouts. Now you might say, well, there's only 3 to 4 start times. Maybe if you're lucky, you could book 2 of those. I made prior content once on the timing of these things. These, when I see Sand 5 to Sand 3, these are all empty moves going from Sand 5 to Sand 3. So, it basically, your rate limiting step is, does Sand 5 have enough trailers? Would I book this blind from my house without seeing, what the situation was like at Sand 5? I absolutely would not. But if I were down there and I saw that that Sand 5 had plenty of empties and that Sand 3 needed them, there's no problem in double booking these. I kind of mentioned it just a second ago, it all comes down to timing. If they had enough of these, could you double book them? Yes. Do I double book loads sometimes? I absolutely do. And get them done on time. It doesn't affect my performance score. It's just basically how quick you can take a trailer across the street from Sand 5 to Sand 3. Of course, safety inspecting it and doing all that stuff. But I mean, you could easily, had I been working on this day, I easily would have booked, let's say, 5 of these. I would have driven 20 miles from my house down to Sand 3, Sand 5, same thing. They're half a mile apart, and knocked out at least 5 of these things. And, did them all on time, not affecting my performance. Pardon me. So anyway, we had, got all of them knocked out and everything like that. You could easily get 5 of these done. Go down there, spend about 3-4 hours of work and get, easily do easily do 5 or 6 of these. Sorry, my mind's a little, had somebody interrupt me. But easily do like 5 or 6 of these things, knock out like $1,000 a day in probably about 3 to 4 hours. Anyway, enough about that. let's get into the recommended loads. Recommended loads here for today. We are looking at Sand 5 to Sand 5. This is 83 miles. That's going to be DSD1. Sand 5 to Sand 5, that's a block, $612. They're going to ask you to work for 13 hours, and you can do, they're going to pay you 48.5 cents a mile for that. Another block, this one is 1 day, 13 hours. It's 2 13-hour driving days separated by an 11-hour break. They're going to pay $13.20 plus 48.5 cents a mile. Sand 5 to Sand 5, this is a 1 day block. And basically, these are just difference of like 1 day blocks versus 2 day blocks. If you don't want to look at the load board all the time, blocks may be your thing. Another block, $13.20. Another block for $13.20. Single day block, double day block, 2 day block, 1 day block. Here we go. 26-foot box truck coming out of Sand 5, ending up in Pine Valley. This has 4 stops, starting down at Sand 5, heading up to Santa Monica Avenue in San Diego, betting that's a post office. Then going to Bernardo Center in San Diego, betting that's a post office. And then ending up in Pine Valley, willing to bet that that's a post office as well too. San Diego ending up in Dana Point, 26-foot truck, $367 total payout. Probably have you stopping at 2 post office ones. Here's a 8-stop location. You got to be aware of those numbers on that side. That means that indicates the number of total stops. They've got you starting down at Sand 5, going to Dib 5, Dib 5 back to Sand 5. I don't like it when they report it this way, but here's 3 to 8 stops. So there's 5 total stops in there after you leave Sand 5, going to, I'm betting, a Poway post office. A post office on University, post office on Shoreman Place, post office on Viejas Grade Road in Descanso, and then ending up at what I'm assuming is a Campo post office. San Diego to Huntington Beach, 4 stops. They've got you starting at Sand 5, going to Mission Gorge Place in San Diego, Brook Street in Oceanside, and then Huntington Beach. San Diego to Costa Mesa, 4 stops. San Diego ending up in Campo, 10 stops. I mean, this is going to take, you figure this starts at 9:30 at night on a Wednesday and doesn't end until 8:30 in the morning. I mean, that's going to be a full night of driving for $641. Sand 5 to Santa Ana, 3 stops for $385. And Sand 5 going to Santa, I'm betting Isabel. Yep, Santa Isabel. 4 total stops. There's not going to be many connecting loads up in San Isabel, but that's the recommended. Let's take a look at those 53s. The load board I like to keep track of, what I consider to be my local load board. Otay to Vista, let's just see what's on there right now. Turn off this auto refresh. DSD1 to Paris, betting this is an empty move for 193 payout. It is a empty move. That little circle not filled in means empty trailer. If that circle is filled in, it's full. Sand 5 to Sand 5, 88.8 miles. I know that that's Poway. DSD8, you're going to take a loaded trailer from Sand 5 up to Poway, drop it off, swap it out for an empty one, and bring that back to Sand 5 for $228. And then Sand 5 to ONT6, 3 stops. You are going to Sand 5, taking a loaded trailer up to Temecula, DUR9, and then from DUR9 to ONT6, you're taking an empty. So that's all the local stuff. Not a lot going on. I'm still on my time off, kind of starting to pay attention to this thing for Monday when I'm planning on getting back to work. Let's take a look at just everything coming out of Otay 53-foot wise, and let's just see what top money is. Payout highest. Top money, Sand 3 to Sand 3. Oh wait, that's payout highest. I'm sorry, I want to do price per distance highest. Is that one $290 a mile, $257 a mile for that one up to Poway. Here's a trailer required going from Spring Valley to Henderson for $221 a mile. I mean, all these are real low, and then we get down into like, I mean, I'm not even going to dignify the ones that are less than $2 a mile by even clicking on them, but I mean, Sand 3 to Las Vegas to Bakersfield for $1.87, Bakersfield $1.87, Stockton for $1.68 a mile. What's the lowest rate per mile on here? Yeah, $1.33 a mile to go up to Stockton. Probably not going to do that one. Let's take a look at box trucks. SD box truck. Let's see here. Let's just look at payout highest, price per distance highest. Sand 5 to Sand 5. These are always on here. You look at this one ends in 1057. This one ends in 928, 928, 928. You can see that like these 928 ones, they do here's Monday at 3 o'clock. Here's Sunday at 3 o'clock. Tuesday at 3 o'clock. The 26-foot game, I don't claim to know anything about it. I put them in here for completeness, but 26 works totally different than 53. The fact that there's decent rate per mile, above $8-9 a mile, and you can plan it this far in advance, that might be a good anchor point if you're looking to do that. Find a load that they send for a decent amount of money all the time and just book that consistently each night. Sand 5 to La Mesa, one pick, one stop, $7.84 a mile. Another La Mesa one. This one, it looks like they send this one every night at $3.20. Here's a 3-stop one, Sand 5 going to, let's see, to Chula Vista, and then ending up in San Diego. So, I don't claim to know anything about the 26-foot game, but it does appear that if you strategically plan out your week, you could pick decent paying loads days in advance. That's just not available to me over on the 53-foot side. The money for 53 that I have found is waiting to the last minute and booking it and taking those last minute loads. Let's take a look at spot capacity. There hasn't been much. 3:46 in the morning, I got one going from, they needed 53, 84 miles for 246 is what they're offering out of ULA 6. Keep in mind that price is negotiable. It's your one and only time to negotiate a higher rate with Amazon. Sand 3, this was yesterday. They were looking for a shuttle hostler over the weekend. They needed somebody today and tomorrow, 12 hours a day, starting at 11 o'clock. So that'd be 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. They're offering 80. I know they'll accept 100. And then let's see here, DPS1. They were looking for a shuttle hostler shift as well up in Rosemead, one driver for a 12-hour shift. And that goes back to Tuesday, and then the rest is all last week. I'm going to leave that out of it. What am I working on today? Still got a couple days off. I took my time off to match what my kids had off from school. So they go back to school on Monday. I'm off to get some barbecue now and enjoy my last couple days with them.